So what's up? It's your girl True. So my daughter decided she wanted to get her belly button pierced again. Yes, again. So anyway, so she had her belly button pierced in Cleveland, Ohio, of course, and she ended up catching an infection. Yeah, an infection. So I was going to try to pierce her belly button, but she bought a gauge and did not find out what gauge it was. So I had a little bit of trouble. So I looked at her belly button and realized that she had a little bit of scar tissue. And since she caught an infection the first time when she went to the piercer, I needed to go probably maybe an inch below or an inch above the scar tissue. The problem is that with the gauge she bought, she did not know what size ring it was. So what we did here is we went ahead and we cleaned the belly button. I'm using an 18 gauge or either a 14 gauge, either one, which I had both. But when I tried the 18 gauge, I realized that the hole was kind of tight due to the fact of the scar tissue that she had from the first infection. So I went ahead and cleaned her belly button up really well. And this is very important because if you're doing a piercing, you don't want any type of infection or anything like that. So I made sure to clean her belly button, around her belly button, as well as to take the clippers and to shave off any hair. So what you're saying right now, I'm going to go ahead, and what I usually do is I like to count to five, five, four, three, two, deep breath. And usually on one, I go ahead and push the needle through. So what you're seeing right now is I've cleaned her belly button. I'm pushing up her skin to try to find where I can go up under the scar tissue, because sometimes when you get a piercing or surgery and you have scar tissue, it causes a lump or knot under the skin. And if you follow me, you already know that I'm a registered nurse. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and this is a very important profession to me. Oh, and shout out to my babies for those beautiful cars that you see in the background. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 18 gauge. I'm going to try to put it up under the scar tissue. But she has about, I'm going to say 2 inches worth of scar tissue. So we're going to go right up under. Now, as you can see, the needle went straight through, no problem. Now, what I'm going to do is she bought a piercing from the mall. And I asked her, I said, what size gauge is this? But she did not find out. So what you'll see right here is I'm trying to thread the original gauge through. And what I like to do is I like to give the person a few minutes to kind of breathe. If you're not breathing when you're getting a piercing, a tattoo, or something like that, it will cause a lot of extra pain. So right now I'm giving her a minute to kind of breathe, calm down, let that adrenaline kind of slow down a little bit. And I'm going to try to open up her hole on her belly button up under the scar tissue. So I believe the gauge that she got probably was like a 16, because when I tried to thread it through, it was very, very difficult. And what I didn't want to do was thread it through and it was too tight where when it comes to her cleaning it and moving it, it would not move. And this is very important because if you put in a belly button, a lip ring, eye ring, it doesn't matter, a braid, whatever, what happens is if the hole is not big enough, your skin will definitely attach to it. You have to be able to move and shift the ring. And this kind of caused a problem because, like I said, in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, she had got her belly button pierced before. They did a 14 gauge and it caused a really bad infection and she had to take it out. So right here, I'm trying to thread through the 16 gauge diamond and it is just not going through. So since I realized at this moment that it was just kind of too difficult, because she's like, just push it through, mom, push it through. And it kind of looked like she was in a lot of pain. So I got it halfway through, but before I got to the belly button, I realized it was a little too tight. So I tried to clean it up a little bit, whiten the hole. And then I just decided it was better to just take it out. So she was a little mad at me about this, but in order for her to completely have this ring, it would be better. As you can see, she looked at the camera like, what the fuck? She's pissed. But that's what I'm going to do. So I took it out. And what I'm going to do right now is take some peroxide, clean up her belly button, hit it with a little bit of 70% alcohol and a little bit of 70% rubbing alcohol, and make sure it's completely clean and it's not bleeding. So she said, can you please try to thread it through again? I don't want you to stick me again. I want the diamond ring. And I explained to her, I said, babe, the gauge is not thick enough. She didn't want to listen. So I went ahead and tried to thread it through again, advising her that this would be very painful because the gauge is a lot thicker than what the needle is. And she did not, of course, get the right gauge. So as you can see, she's in hella pain, doesn't want to listen. But hey, teenagers do what they do. So like my grandma said, you make your bed, you lie in it, motherfucker, you lie in it. But after I seen she was just in too much pain and too ignorant to realize that this was not a good idea, I decided instead of trying to push it through, I'd just go ahead, clean up her belly button, run back to the mall, get a better gauge, another needle, and come back and try to do this again. Because, yeah, as you can see with me trying